Listen to me very carefully. Because this truth will change the way you see your life forever. The world doesn't respect the beautiful, the rich, or even the loudest person in the room. It bows only to the one who is mentally unshakable. Looks fade, money gets spent, popularity dies, but mental strength, it builds empires, it fights fears, it wins battles you don't even speak about. Do you know what happens when you become mentally strong? You stop begging for love. You stop explaining your worth. You stop breaking at rejection. Because the strongest woman in the room is not the loudest. She is the calmest. The most dangerous person is not the one who shouts, but the one who smiles after being broken. Your mind can be your greatest weapon or your deadliest prison. So today, we break those walls. This is not a motivational speech. This is your wake-up call to rebuild your mind so powerfully that people fear losing you, respect your silence, and never doubt your strength again. Are you ready to become mentally unbreakable? Then listen closely. Because everything you want to change starts inside your mind. Stop seeking validation. Because the day you do, you free yourself from the invisible chains that have been holding you back your entire life. Look closely around you. How many times have you checked your phone to see how many likes your photo got? How many times have you waited, secretly hoping someone texts back to feel wanted? How often do you dress, speak, even think, not for yourself, but for others to approve you, accept you, clap for you, not for your 10,000 fans, but for one person who thinks you look good. You find your worth through approval. 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 You find your... And when they don't, what happens? Your heart sinks. Your mind starts spinning. Am I not good enough? Am I not pretty enough? Am I not successful enough? This is the quiet prison most people are trapped in. It is dangerous. It is exhausting. And it is invisible. Every time you wear something new and look at the mirror, are you dressing for your happiness or imagining what they will think? Every time you crack a joke in a gathering, are you speaking your truth or carefully performing for their laughter, their approval, their applause? Think about this. In friendships, you remain silent when you want to scream because you're afraid they won't like the real you. In relationships, you say yes when your soul wants to scream no because you don't want him to walk away. You eat food you don't like. You go to places you don't enjoy. You watch shows you hate just because you don't want to break the flow, to upset the harmony, to risk disapproval. A girl once told me she kept dating a man for 2 years even though he disrespected her dreams, insulted her passion, and made her feel small. Why? Because she feared being the single girl in the group. She thought people would whisper, she can't even keep a man. Imagine living your whole life fearing what strangers or friends might say behind your back. Is that life or slow death? Think about your social media. You post something you love, but if it doesn't get enough likes, you delete it. Why? Because your value became tied to a number. A digital number that cannot hug you, cannot feed you, cannot save you. Still, you chase it. Why? Because you seek validation. And why? Because you seek even in family gatherings, you stay quiet when elders criticize your choices. Why? Because you want their approval. But their approval is not the rent you owe for living your own life. The world has made you believe that to be loved, you must fit into their mold. That to be accepted, you must shrink, soften, be less. But what happens when you do that for years? You forget who you really are. You become a ghost version of yourself. Always smiling, always pleasing, always empty. A young artist once painted the most stunning canvas of her life. But she locked it away in a cupboard because her family said art is a waste of time. She never showed it to the world. Why? Because she let their voice silence hers. This is what happens when you seek validation. Your dreams die in the darkness, unseen, unlived, untouched. Your uniqueness becomes your shame. Your truth becomes your fear. Your boldness becomes your burden. This is why mentally strong people never seek validation. They clap for themselves first. They wear what they want. They speak what they believe. They walk away when they are disrespected. Because their worth is not written in someone else's opinion. Do you think Oprah asked permission to dream big? Do you think Elon Musk waited for people to approve his crazy ideas before building rockets? Do you think Priyanka Chopra herself became a global icon by asking every step, will they like me? No. They became legends because they stopped waiting for others to clap. They clapped for themselves first. When you stop seeking validation, you stop being a prisoner. You become the queen of your own life. You eat what you want. You post what you want. You love who you want. And most importantly, you walk away from anyone who dares to make you feel less. Because you know this golden truth. You are already enough. You have nothing to prove to anyone. Mastering emotional control is the silent superpower that separates the truly strong from the easily broken. It's not about pretending that emotions don't exist. It's about making sure they don't drive the car while you sit in the back seat, helpless and scared. How many times have you let anger explode in a moment and regretted it forever? How many relationships, friendships, and dreams have you destroyed because your emotions rule the moment and not your mind? Emotional control is not weakness. It is mastery. It is discipline. It is choosing power over chaos. Imagine this. A woman walks into the office and a co-worker insults her in front of everyone. Most people would react her, shout back, cry, storm out. But a mentally strong woman smiles slightly, looks him in the eye, and walks away with dignity. Why? Because she knows reacting will only give him power. Her silence, that will echo in his mind longer than her words ever could. She knows her energy is precious. Not everyone deserves a reaction. Not every war deserves a soldier. That's emotional control. Think about daily life. You're stuck in traffic. Horns blaring. People cutting you off. Your first instinct is to curse, to scream, to hit the steering wheel. But what changes when you do that? Nothing. The traffic doesn't move faster. Your frustration doesn't melt away. It only poisons your peace. But the person who breathes deep, smiles, plays their favorite song, wins the moment. Because peace is not the absence of chaos. It is control in the middle of it. A young girl once told me how she failed her final exam. Everyone mocked her. Teachers doubted her. Friends whispered behind her back. She wanted to break down, scream, give up. But she didn't. She took the pain, locked it inside, and turned it into fire. The next year she came back, stronger, smarter, focused. And she topped the entire university. She said, if I had reacted with emotion, I would have quit. But I chose control over chaos. That is emotional mastery. Even in relationships, emotional control is gold. When he ignores your text, your mind races. Why isn't he replying? Is he with someone else? Did I do something wrong? You want to send 10 more messages, call him, demand answers. But you don't. Because you know, chasing him will not bring respect. Silence will. Distance will. Self-respect will. The strongest women let the world wonder. They never reveal their brokenness. In desperation, they suffer, yes, but quietly. And that quiet power shakes the earth. A friend betrayed you. You want to expose them. You want revenge. You want to teach them a lesson they'll never forget. But do you? Or do you rise higher, become so successful, so joyful, so unstoppable that they regret ever losing you? That is the victory emotional control gives. It teaches you that revenge is not always fire. Sometimes it's the cold beauty of success. The most graceful revenge is proving them wrong by living your best life. Parents scold you unfairly. A boss humiliates you for no reason. A stranger gossips about you. Your heart burns. Your pride screams. Your tears want to fall. But you hold. You breathe. You remember. This is not your final moment. This is not the end of your story. And in that silent pause, in that breath, you win. Because you didn't let their poison become your identity. Great kings, great queens, great leaders, they don't break in storms. They bend, they watch, they wait. The greatest warriors know when to strike and when to stay silent. Your mind is a battlefield. The enemy is not the world, it is your reaction. Master that, and no insult, no betrayal, no storm can break you. You will walk through fire and come out golden. A man once insulted a monk. He spat on him, cursed him, humiliated him. The monk smiled gently and said, "If you offer me a gift and I refuse to take it, to whom does the gift belong?" And the monk smiled gently said, "If you offer me a gift and I refuse to take it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man was speechless. The monk said, "Your anger is your gift. I refuse to accept it." This is emotional control. Knowing when to pick up a battle and when to walk away with peace still glowing in your heart. Learn to walk away in silence, because silence is louder than words, deeper than explanations, and more powerful than any argument you will ever make. Most people fear silence. They feel empty without noise, without drama, without shouting. The man who fears silence, they feel empty without noise, without shouting. Most people fear silence. They feel empty without noise, without shouting. Most people fear silence. They feel empty without drama, without shouting. Ask yourself, but what they don't know is this: silence is strength. When you choose silence, you are telling the world that you are above the games, above the pettiness, above the need to prove your worth to anyone. You are not silent because you are weak. You are silent because you know your worth is not up for debate. Think about the friend who constantly uses you, calls you only when they need something, disappears when you are low, comes back when they want a favor. You could argue, you could fight, you could scream and cry and ask why they treat you this way. But the most powerful response is to simply walk away without a word, without drama, without explanation. Because when you leave without noise, they feel the space you left behind. And that silence screams your value louder than any words could. A woman once told me she stayed in a toxic relationship for 3 years. Every day she cried, begged, and pleaded for respect. Every day she shouted for love that was never returned. One day she woke up tired, broken, empty, and she chose silence. No goodbye letter, no final fight. She packed her things and left. That silence shattered him. He waited for the text, the phone call, the drama, but none came. And for the first time he understood. She was done. That is the sound of true power. The sound of nothing. At work, your boss insults you in front of the team. Everyone watches, waiting for you to break, to fight back, to lose control. But you don't. You smile, finish your task, and hand in your resignation with grace. No revenge. No shouting. Just quiet departure. Later they will realize what they lost. The peace, the skill, the calm you brought. Your silent exit will echo in that office longer than angry words ever could. Even on social media, you can learn this power. Someone comments hate on your post. Someone mocks your dream. Someone criticizes your journey. Most people clap back, typing furious replies, defending every inch. But the strongest people don't waste breath on the blind. They block, ignore, move on. Silently. Because they know arguing with fools drags you down to their level. And queens don't argue with peasants. A young boy once trained for months to win a race. On the final day, his biggest rival insulted him before the race, trying to break him, distract him, throw him off balance. The boy smiled and said nothing. He won the race. And as he stood holding the trophy, the silence between them spoke louder than any insult ever could. He proved that victory is the best reply, and silence is the language of champions. In family disputes, silence can save your soul. When relatives gossip, when people twist your truth, when they judge your life choices, the easy way is to fight, to explain, to prove. But the strong way is to smile, to nod, and to live your truth without permission. Because years later, when you are happy, successful, and peaceful, that silence will come back to haunt them. They will remember how you didn't beg them to understand. You simply lived, and your life became the answer. Even in heartbreak, silence is divine. When someone breaks your heart, cheats, lies, or walks away, you want to scream, to call, to demand why. But no, the one who wins is the one who walks away in quiet dignity, knowing the universe will handle the rest. Because silence after betrayal is the loudest revenge. It tells them, you are not worth my energy, my tears, my voice. You are not worthy of my story. The greatest teachers, the greatest warriors, the greatest lovers, they all knew when to speak and when to stay silent. A tiger does not announce its power. A queen does not explain her crown. And the strongest souls walk away without noise because they know. Real value is felt, not spoken. Embrace failure without shame, because failure is not the enemy, it is your greatest teacher dressed in disguise. Most people run from failure as if it is a disease, something to hide, something to be ashamed of. But what they do not see is that failure holds the secret key to success. Every great soul that ever lived, every icon, every legend has met failure in the darkest alley and still chosen to rise again. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is the path that leads to it. Remember when you learned to ride a bicycle as a child? You fell. You scraped your knees. You cried. But you stood up again and again until finally, one day, you were flying down the street, smiling with the wind in your face. Did anyone laugh at you for falling? Did anyone expect you to ride perfectly the first time? No, because falling was part of the process. So why, when you grow up, do you fear falling? Why does failing an exam, losing a job, ending a relationship make you feel broken? It is simply life's way of teaching you how to ride. A young businessman I once met lost everything. His savings, his clients, his reputation in his first venture. He was mocked, humiliated by family and friends. They said, "See, you should have taken the safe job." For months, he hid in shame. But one day, he realized the lessons he learned from that failure were worth more than any MBA. The second business he built made millions, because this time, he knew what not to do. The first failure was his greatest blessing, dressed as disaster. In the world of relationships, failure also teaches hard truths. A woman gave her heart completely to a man who betrayed her. The second business he built made millions, because this time he knew what not to do. The first business he learned made millions, because this time he knew what not to do. This second business he built made millions. The first business he built made millions, because this time he knew what not to do. She cried. She hated herself. She thought she was unworthy because it failed. But failure in love taught her boundaries. It taught her to value herself first. The next man she met had to rise to her standard, had to respect her worth, because she was no longer afraid to walk away. Failure prepared her for the love she truly deserved. In school, students who fail fear the label loser. But the best minds in history were once failures. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. When asked how it felt to fail so many times, he smiled and said, "I did not fail. I just found 1,000 ways that won't work." What an incredible way to see the world, as a laboratory of lessons, not as a courtroom of judgments. When you embrace failure without shame, you grow fearless. You take risks. You explore, and you discover gold where others see only dirt. Even in friendships, failure can sting. You trusted someone. They let you down. You feel foolish, embarrassed for believing in them. But failure in friendship teaches you wisdom, how to spot real loyalty, how to build walls where needed, how to choose wisely next time. Failure trims your circle until only the worthy remain. On stage, an actress once forgot her lines in front of thousands. She froze. The audience waited in silence. Her heart pounded. She wanted to run. But she smiled, made a joke of her mistake, and started over. The audience laughed with her, clapped louder than before. She owned her failure, and that courage made her unforgettable. From that day, she never feared the stage again. Failure freed her. Even nature embraces failure. Seeds fall on rocky ground and die, but some find soil and bloom. She saw her seeds fall on rocky ground and die, but some find soil and bloom. She saw seeds fall on rocky ground and die, but she saw seeds fall. The river crashes against rocks, but carves valleys over time. The caterpillar must break its body apart to become a butterfly. Nothing in life blooms without breaking first. Why should you be any different? Failure makes you stronger, sharper, braver. It humbles the proud and lifts the humble. The scars failure leaves are not marks of shame. They are medals of survival. Proof that you dared greatly, that you lived fully. Without failure, there is no growth. Without mistakes, there is no mastery. Without loss, there is no wisdom. Those who fear failure live small, safe, invisible lives. But those who embrace it without shame become legends. They fall, they rise, they fall again, and every time they rise, they become more unstoppable. Create boundaries without guilt, because your time, your energy, your peace are not charity for the unworthy. So many people live tired, broken, stretched thin because they don't know how to say a simple word, no. Why? Because they are afraid. Afraid of being called selfish, rude, uncaring. But let me tell you the truth, most never speak. Saying no is not selfish. Saying no is survival. It is power. It is protection. If you do not guard your space, the world will take from you until there is nothing left. How many times have you said yes when your heart screamed no? A friend asks for another favor, again. Even when you are exhausted, but you say yes because you don't want to disappoint. You cancel your own plans, delay your own dreams, just to make others happy. But what happens to you? You slowly burn out. Your joy dims. Your soul becomes tired. And at the end of the day, those same people you sacrifice for, they still complain, still want more, still take. And the truth is, people will take as much as you allow. Boundaries are not walls that keep love out. They are doors that guard your treasure. In relationships, boundaries are life-saving. A woman I once knew gave her entire life to a man who gave nothing back. She cooked, cleaned, forgave every betrayal, allowed every disrespect, because she thought this was love, but it was not. It was self-destruction. Love without boundaries becomes slavery. One day she stood up and said, "Enough. No more answering calls at midnight. No more forgiving lies. No more silent tears." She demanded respect, or she would walk away. And everything changed. She created boundaries, and she found herself again. Even in family, boundaries are sacred. Just because someone shares your blood does not mean they own your life. Many people allow toxic parents, cruel siblings, judgmental relatives to poison their mind because they feel guilty saying no. But being born into a family does not mean you must carry their damage forever. A man I knew left his toxic family home at 25 to chase his dreams. Everyone said he was selfish. But years later, when he built his own life, his own happiness, they finally understood. He was wise, not cruel. His boundary gave him freedom. At work, boundaries protect your sanity. The boss who demands unpaid overtime, the co-worker who dumps their tasks on you, the team that forgets your worth, they will push and push until you break, unless you draw the line. No, I will not stay late today. No, I cannot cover your work. These small words hold great power. The world respects those who respect themselves first. Even in friendships, boundaries reveal the real ones. A friend who disappears when you need them but shows up when they need you is no friend. When you say no to their selfish demands, watch who stays. The fake ones will leave. The true ones will understand. Boundaries clear the garden of your life. They remove the weeds so the flowers can grow. Your personal time needs boundaries. Your mental health needs boundaries. You do not have to reply to every text. You do not have to pick up every call. You do not have to explain your choices to anyone. A woman I met switched off her phone every Sunday. No social media, no work emails, no drama, just silence, books, walks, peace. Everyone called her strange. But inside, she was whole, calm, strong. Her boundary was her secret weapon. Boundaries do not make you cold. They make you clear. They do not make you cruel. They make you careful. When you protect your space, you protect your energy, and your energy creates your future. Those who love you will respect your boundaries. Those who don't were only using you. And when they leave, they make space for better things, better people, better peace. Be unapologetically you, because there is no greater tragedy than a life lived pretending to be someone else. The world will always try to shape you into what it wants. They will say, talk like this, dress like that, think this way, hide your dreams, shrink your fire, don't laugh so loud, don't dream so big. But the truth is, the world does not need another copy. It needs your original, raw, real self, the messy, imperfect, bold you. Because that is your superpower, that no one else can ever be you. So many people wake up every morning and put on masks. They go to work and speak fake words, nod fake smiles, wear fake confidence, just to fit into a mold they hate. But when you live like that, something inside you dies. Your spirit gets tired. Your soul gets dim. You forget who you are. A young woman I knew wanted to be a writer, but her family laughed at her dream. They said, be a doctor, be safe, be like everyone else. She almost gave in, but deep down her fire refused to die. One day, she said no. She left medical school, moved to the city, and wrote her first book. It became a bestseller. Now the same family that mocked her praises her, because she chose to be unapologetically herself. And the world finally caught up. Even in relationships, this truth matters. How many people pretend to like the things their partner loves? Watching sports they hate, eating food they dislike, agreeing with beliefs they don't share, just to keep peace, to avoid conflict. But this is a slow death of the soul. A woman I met dated a man who hated her loud laugh, her wild dreams, her love for dancing in the rain. For years, she became smaller, quieter, softer. Until one day she looked in the mirror and didn't recognize herself. That day she left. She wore her wild clothes, laughed loud in the streets, danced under the sky, and felt alive again. The man was gone, but her soul came back home. This is the reward of being you. Freedom. At work, the same truth saves you. A man I knew was brilliant, but he never spoke in meetings because he thought his ideas were too strange. Until one day, the company hit a crisis. Desperate, they asked for fresh ideas. They said he finally spoke, and his strange idea saved the company millions. Now he is a leader. Why? Because the day he stopped apologizing for his thoughts was the day he changed everything. Your ideas, your voice, your perspective, they matter. even if they sound weird, even if they scare people, especially if they scare people. Your style is your signature. Your laugh is your melody. Your dreams are your path. Why trade them for the approval of people who don't even know your soul? I met a girl who loved wearing wild colors. Bright yellow shoes, red jackets, blue hats. People mocked her, they called her clownish. But she smiled. Years later, she opened a fashion brand known for wild colors and became a millionaire. The world loves what it first laughs at, but only if you dare to stay true. Even your scars are part of your beauty. The world says hide them, cover them, be flawless. But your scars are proof you survived. A cancer survivor once showed her surgery scars on a magazine cover. The world gasped. Some called it ugly. But millions felt seen, inspired, alive. Because she was brave enough to say, this is me, all of me, and I will not hide. That is strength. In friendships too, being yourself is gold. A woman pretended to be gentle, soft, agreeable, because her friends liked that. But inside, she was fierce, loud, wild. One day, she let the real her out. Some friends left, but better ones came. The real ones who loved the real her. That's what happens when you stop apologizing for who you are. You lose the wrong people and attract the right ones. Because your truth is a magnet. It pulls what you need and repels what you don't. So here you stand now, at the edge of decision, a moment most people never reach, because they are too busy pleasing, pretending, performing, for a world that does not even know their worth. But you have walked this far. You have listened to every truth, swallowed every hard lesson, felt every sharp word. And now the time has come to choose. Will you continue to live as the world expects, or as the fire within you demands? Listen to me carefully, because this is the truth most are too afraid to hear. You were not born to blend in. You didn't make your mark. You were not born to blend in. You were born to stand out. You were not put on this earth to be everyone's second choice, to be the background character in someone else's story, to be silent while your dreams die quietly in the corner. No. The universe crafted you differently. Your mind, your heart, your soul, they are not accidents. They are divine designs. And only when you stop apologizing for your truth will you realize the unstoppable force you carry inside you. So, Dr. Joseph K., you are not something to forget about. You are something to forget. You are something to keep guessing. Remember this forever. The lion does not turn when the small dog barks. The eagle does not fly lower because the pigeons complain. The queen does not remove her crown because the crowd whispers. And you do not shrink, soften, or surrender just because others cannot handle your power. Their fear of your greatness is not your burden to carry. Their discomfort with your confidence is not your problem to solve. Let them talk, let them gossip, let them misunderstand. You remain untouchable, unmoved, unshaken. The world will test you again and again. It will try to break you with betrayal, trap you with approval, seduce you with comfort, but you must rise beyond it. Because the most dangerous woman in any room is the one who needs nothing. Not attention, not validation, not permission. A woman who knows she is enough, she can build empires in silence and burn kingdoms with her absence. Become that woman. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. You are not here to chase him. to impress her, to prove yourself to them. You are here to make the ground tremble when you walk, to make eyes turn when you enter, to make history remember your name long after you're gone. And for that, you do not need their applause. You do not need their love. You do not need their approval. Because when you approve of yourself, the world bows in time. Every queen was once a girl who refused to stay small. Every legend was once a soul who dared to dream louder than the world told her to. Every success story was once a failure that refused to die. And you are the next in line. Your time is now. Not when you are richer, not when you are thinner, not when you are married, not when you are older. Now, right now, as you are, in this very moment. So walk away from what drains you without guilt. Speak your truth without fear. Dream boldly without apology. Protect your peace without explanation. Laugh loud. Cry deeply. Live fully. Because the world is already filled with copies. But there is only one you. And that, my dear, is your power. The rarest diamond, the brightest star, the wildest fire. Never forget this. The strongest people are not those who show strength in front of us, but those who win battles we never see. The most dangerous woman is the one who rebuilds herself silently. The most unstoppable soul is the one who remembers who she is, even when the world makes her forget. You are that soul. You are that woman. So hold your head high. Straighten your crown. Fix your gaze. And step forward into the life you deserve. Not with fear, not with apology, but with fire in your eyes and thunder in your chest. Because you were not made to be liked. You were made to be legendary.